The follow-up is simple. Ask a question, listen to the answer, then follow up. I'm your host, Noah Kozlov. Enjoy. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of The Follow-Up. I'm Noah. My now 5 3/4-year-old daughter, Eden, is my co-host, and we're outside today for reasons that we'll explain in just a moment. We appreciate all the wonderful feedback we got, especially from the last episode, all about Eden's thoughts on going back to school in New York City. As always, a new episode every Monday, and as always, the topic is Eden's choice. So what do we have?
So ever since we left New York and came to my grandparents' house, so I've been doing a lot of gardening. So we wanted to talk to you about all the flowers and all the flower varieties in the yard.
It's a good idea. We're in the suburbs of Philadelphia where I grew up, where my wife Marissa grew up. Our houses are about a mile away from each other. And as a kid, when I grew up here, it's the same home. We had a really big vegetable garden. Cucumbers, eggplants, peppers, tomatoes, basil, oregano, all sorts of things in that vegetable garden. We haven't had that vegetable garden in a long time, but Grandma and Grandpa have been growing all sorts of flowers and all sorts of trees ever since. So when we got here and they were still in Florida, it was our responsibility to take care of some things.
Yeah, and they also still have some tomatoes that we planted and also some herbs.
All right, so let's talk about what we did first. The very first thing Grandpa said was, can you please check on the dahlias in the basement? So what do we need to do?
So what you need to do is like every 3 months, you have to water them. So, and after the last frost, you plant them, but when it starts to get cold again, in the fall you dig them up and he keeps them moist in the basement. He has a box, puts some dirt in it, and water them every 3 months so they can stay moist, and you can have them every year to plant.
All right, so that's what we did first, and after the last frost, we planted them, and now they're blooming.
Yeah.
Also, the daylilies. The daylilies were very important because the deer really like to eat
buds.
They really like to eat the buds. So let's explain first, before we talk about the daylilies, what we did to try to keep the deer away.
So there is this thing called deer scram that makes the deer go away because they don't like the smell.
But you like the smell, right?
Oh, I love it.
What did it smell like to you? At one point you said like
paprika
and Old Bay seasoning.
Yeah.
It's like a seed mix.
Yeah.
And they come in these 25-pound buckets, and then you spread out the seed along the daylilies because the deer like to eat the buds. And then also when Grandpa came back, we put out
soap. So there's steaks. You take those, and then you take some ribbon. You take one Irish Spring soap.
Yep.
And then you tie the string to the ribbon to the soap, and it keeps the deer away.
Right, then you just stick it into the ground.
Yep.
So what's so crazy about daylilies are that
they only last for a day.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
So when we see it bloom, it's going to last for a day, and then you think, well, wait a second. Why did we spend so much time trying to take care of these daylilies if they're only going to last for a day? But they've got a lot of different buds on each flower.
There are a lot of different varieties, about maybe 20.
Oh, really?
I'm just taking a guess.
Well, I do know that they've got 8 to 10 flowers on each stalk, so that helps. And then they grow, because of all the different varieties, they grow at different times of the summer so that you always have daylilies if you have a bunch of different varieties.
So they have about 15
varieties. They've got a lot. They also have a lot of hydrangea. Yeah, hydrangea. There are 7 different types of hydrangea, and I think Grandma and Grandpa have all 7. There's lace cap, there's climbing, there's mountain. What else?
No, you mean hosta.
Nope. We'll get to hosta in a moment. Hosta are those spreaders that look like the little drops on top. But the hydrangea, your favorite was the endless summer. and there's a bunch of different hydrangea. And what I thought was really neat was how you can change the color of hydrangea.
By using coffee grounds. So if you put like a medium amount of them, it will change it to purple, your hydrangeas. But if you put like, you wait for like a week and keep collecting your coffee grind, it will turn it to like blue.
So the more acidic the soil is, and you'll learn this as you get older in science, it's all about the pH level of the soil. And this is all new to me also.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this stuff. So if it's more acidic soil, so the more coffee grounds you put in, and you can put some other chemicals in too, that makes it blue. And if it's less acidic, if the soil is more of an alkaline, it makes it pink. The hosta,
Like purple.
right? But then if you
Pink
put a
and
little bit more, it becomes more purple. The hosta are spreaders, and they are everywhere. But just like any other ones, you can dig them up and share them with your friends.
Yeah, or you can keep them for yourself. Just like dig half of it up and move it to a different spot where it can grow more, or move the whole thing and move it where it has more space.
Something you mentioned in the beginning, I think, was about the herbs.
Yes, I did.
So, what type of herbs do we have here?
We have some sage that we found first, oregano, thyme, rosemary.
Mm-hmm.
There's
And basil.
basil.
Mm-hmm. So, basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary, sage, and mint, all here. And the basil, it's just so nice to have fresh herbs.
Yeah, and there's also tomatoes.
What kind of tomatoes?
We have beefsteak tomatoes.
Those are going to be the really big ones?
Yes, we have we're gonna grow really big ones.
Uh-huh.
There's also yellow pear tomatoes because they look like pears.
Mm-hmm.
There are also patio tomatoes.
I didn't know that. You told me that before. I didn't know about patio tomatoes.
Well, yeah.
Huh.
I looked at one of the tags.
That's always helpful to keep the
yeah.
tag in the pot.
Yeah,
So I think, if you've got the tomatoes and you've got the basil,
Yeah.
we're 2/3 of the way to one of our favorite salads. What's the only other thing we need?
Well, is it? It is mozzarella.
Right, fresh
Fresh
mozzarella.
mozzarella.
We can't grow that here, though.
Well, but you can always get it at the store.
Yeah, right. We can always get the fresh mozzarella. So we've got the herbs, the tomatoes, also raspberries.
Raspberries.
There's a whole bunch of wild raspberry bushes. I remember as a kid there was one out the side of the house, and now there's 4 of them.
Yeah, and they are so good.
Yeah, what type of flavor? How would you describe them?
A little tart.
Mhm.
Their texture is very different than like raspberries you'll get at the store. They're very small.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I really like them.
Yeah, me too. They kind of pop, and they're very bright,
Oh, yeah.
bright in color. One other thing, back to flowers, that we planted was a butterfly bush.
Oh yeah. When we released our butterflies, we were growing butterflies. So one thing that they had in there was also like seeds that grow all these different flowers, and it comes into a bush, and then all different butterflies come.
Yeah, they're supposed to attract all sorts of butterflies, especially the monarch butterflies that we helped raise. And now there's a beautiful zinnia on
Two
top.
zinnias, 2 different ones.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
and they're near the spider flower, which is another just wild flower that Grandma and Grandpa didn't plant. Just the seeds kind of just move
Yeah,
all over the place.
And also, for the raspberries, that's a wild bush.
Right, because the birds
Birds
might have just eaten a seed and then dropped it there, and they just started growing.
No, maybe they also ate a raspberry and accidentally dropped it.
That's true. Right, and then the seeds
And
helped
then there's
grow.
a raspberry in the ground somewhere.
Okay, so now let's go on to the trees.
Uh,
The
there-
tree that I'll always remember is the red maple tree that is in the yard that has been there for
114 years old. That's
it's
how
114 years
old.
old.
Yes, that's how old it is.
So the house was built in the early 1900s. There's some debate whether it was 1909 or whether just the chimney was built in 1909 because that's what it says on the chimney, or if it was built in 1906. But that's been there for over 100 years old. And then right on the driveway is a cut leaf maple.
Cut leaf maple. That is right in front of us right now.
But we can't turn the camera, but it's over there. We'll show you a picture. And that's about 40 years old. And when Uncle Max and I were kids,
Before
camp, before the first day of camp, first day of school, last day of school, when our grandparents would visit, any occasion, our pictures were always taken in front of that. And then there's another really unique tree that you described as unique that I don't think I'd ever really noticed.
But it's called a smoke tree. It looks like really nice. It's kind of like it's like a maroon colored leaves. It's so nice that it's like pillows.
Yeah, it's like pillows of cotton balls almost.
Yeah.
And Grandpa said that it grows 1 to 2 feet every year. All right. But it hasn't all been great
Nope.
because of the lanternflies.
Flies. So there's these things that look like spiders, but they're not spiders. They're nymphs.
Mm-hmm.
So these nymphs can be black and white.
Mm-hmm.
They're the white dots. And then they're red and white dots. So whenever you see one, you should not step on it.
Right.
Just
But
but you have to sneak up on it.
because they can jump about 15 feet. So when we saw these in March when we got here, I didn't really know much about them, so we
Yeah.
started to look them up more and more. And then when Grandma and Grandpa came back, and then now there are thousands
Yes,
of them.
and one thing. So what, Dad, we were just saying driving. He tried to kill it with a pine needle, but it jumped over.
Right, exactly. And I didn't know that they could jump. So now we've sprayed all the trees on the bottoms. And what they try to do is they go from eggs into these nymph phases, and then they turn into what look like beautiful butterflies, but they're lanternflies, and they destroy trees.
They make your trees die. So they move very slowly, so you can always swat them.
You can if you can sneak up on them. And then I'm looking at them right
no,
now.
on the flies. The flies.
Oh, once they become flies. I haven't seen the flies yet.
No.
And then
Well, one time when we were in our pool, one of the lanternflies popped in the pool, and we had to knock it out.
the blow up pool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing. And
Yes.
I think a lot of people around the country have gotten blow-up pools for this time since everybody's at home. But we wrapped a bunch of the trees
With duct tape.
with duct tape, and then all the bugs get stuck to that duct tape, and then you cut it off so they're not destroying the trees.
But they die.
Mhm.
We've also got the spray that you spray around your door frame.
Mhm.
You'll especially have a lot if you have a garden
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of trees.
It's true. That's true. 2 more plants that you've really liked are the coleus plants
Cool, yes.
that you helped arrange in the pots at the
Yes.
front of the house. And also one that I think I've seen for a long time but never really paid much attention to, and then finally touched it, was
Lamb's ear.
lamb's ear. It's a plant that feels like a lamb's ear. It is so...
Like lamb's fur, basically.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It basically feels like lamb's fur.
Yeah, exactly.
Just lamb's fur
it's incredibly
is like
soft.
a little softer. Yeah.
All right, so continuing with this nature talk, the bird feeder,
Yes.
we've been filling that up every few days because, as Mom says, those birds are pigs.
Yes, they eat crazy amount. Like we probably filled it up last Thursday.
Yeah, we fill it up every few days.
Last Thursday, gone yesterday.
And we fill it up with these, it's called suey, and it comes in this, like a square block, and there's 2 little feeders. And so we've seen blue jays,
Blue jays, cardinals,
cardinals,
male, female.
all sorts of other birds, which is fun to look at in the morning.
Yeah.
Plus, right behind us,
It's
can
a
you
fig
see it?
tree.
Well, yeah, that's the fig tree.
Yeah.
Got 3 little figs. Is the hummingbird feeder. I have not seen any hummingbirds. Have you?
Well, you saw one with Grandpa.
I think I saw one flying away.
Yes. Well, I've seen one for like 2 seconds, but that's all.
And so do you remember what we made the hummingbird food out of?
So, sugar water. It's just. Oh, what was that?
It was a spider.
What? One of those jumping ones.
It wasn't. That was a real spider.
But so hummingbird feeder. So we made it out of sugar and water.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar water.
Yeah, you boil the water, put sugar in it,
Sugar.
let it sit,
Sit.
Yep.
And then pour
pour it into the feeder.
Yep. If you can see, it's behind the fig tree, and it's that red thing with the flowers on the bottom.
Oh yeah, maybe you can see it. Well,
Mhm.
I know you've really enjoyed planting, and I know that it's the never-ending project of weeding, and you really love to do it. That was your kindergarten graduation gift, were new gardening gloves.
Yes.
But I think it's really nice that it's something that you get to do with Grandma and Grandpa,
Yeah.
that they really like, and they can share it with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nice job.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.